I'm Michael Bain, and welcome to Triggered, coming to you as always from the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains and Dragon House Studios, and brought to you this week by Armscore, Rock Island. And today I have a new gun which always cheers me up, as you know. This is a Savage stance. Now, for the last 100 years or so, Savage has been making rifles, really excellent rifles, but they decided to step into the Micro 9 market, which remains the hottest market for concealed carry. Zillions and zillions of small 9mm are being sold pretty much on a daily basis in the United States. This gun, and I'm inclined to really like this gun for a couple of reasons. It has a lot of features that make sense within the small 9mm market. It falls size-wise within that range. 6.2 inch on the slide, 3.2 inch on the barrel, like 4 some odd inches height. All of these things are standard across that Micro 9 platform. One of the interesting things here, excellent grip, world-class grip panels. I like world-class grip panels. Are they harder on your clothes? Yes, as a matter of fact. But I like this a lot. It feels good. Now what sets it apart a little bit here is it's a single stack. It's a single stack in a world of stack and a half, larger capacity, miniature 9mm. It has 7 rounds magazines. It has 8 round magazines. Flush fit to carry. I think it doesn't make any difference. It's something I've said before. It's easy to talk about more capacity, and indeed, with the Best Defense Shooting Gallery, talking to people who've been involved in defensive situations for the last 30 years, nobody's ever said to me, wow, I wish I had fewer bullets. However, I don't believe that magazine capacity should be the final determining factor. I mean, you got good night sights on this gun, you got great grips on it. Looking forward to shooting it. It's got a very wide trigger, which gives it an interesting trigger bullet. It feels heavier in dry fire, at least my experience has been with triggers like this. They feel heavier in dry fire than they do in shooting. It's got a safety. If you're carrying appendix and you're worried about that, which you're sticking the gun right down here, a manual safety adds one more layer to you, of course, are the final thing on safety. The other reason I'm really inclined to like this gun is this. This is an Honor Defense. Honor Defense is a small company that made a great gun. I love this gun. How much did I love this gun? I carried it. And I can assure you there's no situation under which I would carry a gun that I did not like and absolutely trust. I thought this was a super gun. Company was undercapitalized, and unfortunately as a single stack it came out just at the beginning of the large capacity races. I've got 10 rounds, I've got 11, I've got 13 rounds. And that doesn't exactly help you when you're going up against huge fish in the market. But I thought the Honor Defense was simply a super gun. And you can clearly see that the Savage stance does share a certain number of factors with it. This gun, by the way, has a cradle, stainless steel cradle in it. Originally developed by SIG on the 250, you see it on the SIG 320, you see it on the 365. Why is that important? Well, what if Savage decided to make a new grip frame and made it so it would carry a 10 round, 11 round, 12 round, 13 round magazine? All you would have to do is buy the plastic grip frame, drop the cradle, which is the gun part of the gun in, and you could have a larger capacity handgun. In fact, there are cradles out there that plastic frames that allow you to place, say, a SIG 320 cradle in them and use SIG 365 magazines. So what I'm talking about is not off in the pale. I am looking forward to shooting this gun. One thing that I really am happy about is there is a magazine interchangeably between this and the Honor Defense package, which is good because I have a bunch of Honor Defense magazines, and they're very good. All in all, I think this is an impressive package for Savage to bring to the market. I am not turned off by single stack 9mm. When you're talking about 7+1, 8+1 rounds, you probably see larger capacity magazines down the line. You've got a gun here whose grip is absolutely super. It's slim. it makes a lot of sense. And Savage has the horsepower to see to it that there's holsters for this gun available, plentiful holsters available for this gun. So I'm going to shoot it. I wish it was optic ready. That's the one thing. I would imagine an optics ready version is on the drawing table, probably on its way out. So we've got lots more when Triggered return. Stay with us. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Arms Corps Rock Island Armory. What's your passion? Taurus USA. Always ready, always bring it. And SDS imports the Thesis PX9. Thesis means quality. Welcome back to Triggered. Today I'm going to show you how to save a little money. Last week's show I introduced you to this Kraken. This is from Tandem Cross. It is a fully built out Ruger 2245 Mark III type frame with all the bells and whistles and a trigger pull that can be described as breathtakingly good. It is a super deluxe gun, as you saw last week. Something I want to show you though, okay? And I didn't know this because I'm dumb. Nobody sent me a memo. It blew right past me. This is a regular Ruger 2245 Mark III, Mark II, whatever frame. It's from the early 1990s. They originally came out like 1992. And you can see that the magazine for this frame was always different than the Ruger Mark series magazines because of this long base plate. So this magazine slipped right in, dunk, and fit perfectly. No problem at all. It fit flush. So out you pop. Along comes the Ruger Mark IV and the Ruger Mark IV 2245. And, again, without anybody sending me a memo, there is a slightly different magazine. How so? Well, on the new Mark IV magazines, like this guy, you'll see that it doesn't have the back nub sticking out. In fact, the line right there, the line of the butt pad follows right along the line of the magazine. It doesn't have this extension in the back. The reason I haven't been paying that much attention to it because I have been actually shooting like Volquartsen magazines, which have this base pad on them, which fits in just like that. Great base pad. You can see a regular Mark IV magazine fits in. Kind of little gappy thing there, it doesn't make any difference, but it fits and locks in just fine. Well, here's the catch. These magazines have been around for obviously since 1992. There's zillions of them. When you shoot competition, you shoot Steel Challenge, Rimfire Challenge, you get 5 runs. So you're going to go up there with 5 magazines, and I'm here to tell you, you are not going to carry only 5 magazines because in a competition situation, a magazine is a consumable. Drop it on the ground a couple of times, fill this magazine up with real fine sand like you might find in Reno, and it's not going to work. So you have all of these magazines that, look at this, won't fit in that gun, won't lock down. You can get base pads, wonderful aluminum base pads from Volquartsen. 5 for $111, $53 for 2. You can get great polymer base pads from Tandem Cross, which is like $22 for 2. It's really easy to put the base pads on, or you can do the Michael Bain solution, which is called a belt grinder. You can take this magazine into your workshop, and if you have a belt grinder, if you have a file, this is just plastic, it's not a really big deal. It took 20, 30 seconds on a belt grinder to grind off this little extension in the back, and lo and behold, this ancient 2245 magazine fits well inside the competition pistol. Make sure you push it all away and hear it click, because the last thing in the world you want to do is fire the first shot and look at the magazine on the ground. I've never done that, of course, but I've heard that it does happen to some people. So when you're looking at 2245 magazines, and somebody says to you, I got a great deal. I got a bunch of these magazines that I've been lying around my house. I haven't had the gun for years. You say, I'll give you $5 a piece for the magazines, and then head out to your own workshop. When we come back, Triggered is going to talk just a little bit about some self-defense issues. Welcome back to Triggered. I'm happy to announce that I'm working with Rich Nance and Jeremy Stafford, two great trainers, to bring out a new version of our landmark show, The Best Defense. That's going to be coming in Q2 2023. But I also wanted to bring some tips here that I've talked about at some length on the Michael Bain podcast, MBTV on the radio, that we've never talked about on Triggered. And the first, and this is something that I don't think you're going to see anywhere else, is it's hard for us to realize that self-defense is integrally tied to politics. The politics of a country, of a community, are going to define what your levels of self-defense are. Let me give you a quick example. Americans never used to have to deal with the concept of politically sanctioned violence. We're doing that now. If you saw the 2020 riots, that was politically sanctioned violence. Question on whether the law applies to everybody, equal under the law. Is that truly the case in America right now, where some of the rioters are being paid damages by Washington, D.C. because of their riot, while other people who were involved in the January 6th demonstrations have been charged with horrific crimes, considering they just walked into the people's house? These are important issues because they change how you need to look at the environment, at the landscape. The classes that we taught 20 years ago, the classes that I went to 30 years ago, I don't think do justice to the new landscape. I think we need to look at that landscape and say, okay, what are our self-defense options in this landscape? What has changed? One thing I will tell you absolutely right now, situational awareness has become critical. One of the fastest rising crimes in rich neighborhoods is follow home robberies. The reason they call them follow home robberies is because it doesn't sound as bad as it is. What they are organized home invasion groups. Home invaders are, as Dr. William April, late Dr. William April said, top of the food chain. They like it. They like the adrenaline. They like the fact that they're kicking open a door with people in the house. They like terrorizing people. And yet, this is one of the fastest growing crimes in high rent areas. Say Beverly Hills, 90210. So, when we talk about self-defense, you're going to have to expand that space in your mind for a changing landscape. I'm Michael Bain. This is Triggered. You can find us at michaelbain.tv, which is a great place to find us because it's always free. You can also find us on YouTube. You can find us on Rumble. And thanks again to Arms Corps Rock Island for sponsoring us this week. We'll see you next week.